Cheers, folks. Why, yes, there is a bunch of crap behind me. Thanks for noticing. What I am seeing a lot here recently is a lot of the other YouTubers on this here platform deciding that it is time to call it quits. It seems like every other day, I say that, it may not be that. You're seeing more and more people who are staples of the platform, who are taking off. YouTube, is everything okay, man? Is everything all right? Like, I get it. Like, you're losing a lot of people. You're losing a lot of people. Like the people that kind of made you what you are. You're losing them. And I could see how that might be a problem. I could see how you might be concerned about that. But let me tell you something. What you're doing is not helping. And if you'll just listen to me, because I am very intuitive and knowledgeable in many things, I can tell you how to fix this. Okay? Because it's stuff I've been seeing for a while, and it's all starting to come to a head now. And it's almost, everybody's like, the shock Pikachu thing. And it's like, well, maybe you could have saw it's coming if you just open your goddamn eyes. I don't know. And it's not just people who are on YouTube. There's people who are on like various social medias. You can get monetized on all kinds of social medias now. And there are people who are like gram influencers or Facebook guys or whatever, what have you, who are, am I bumping this cable? I feel like I'm bumping this cable. And if I keep bumping this, people who are, media micro celebrities on these other social media platforms who have either said they're going to straight up just stop now, or who are going to do it for maybe a year-ish more and then give it up. You see people like Robert Frank, get swole and all that stuff. He says that he's going to do it for another year and then hang it up because he's hated doing it since 2019. Cheers, folks. You see Matthew Patterson, who's only got like a couple of theories left on each of his channels before he's going to turn it over to his creative team that he's been sort of building and bolstering for years, right? Like, I kind of hoped he would do a couple of, film theories on like some of the stuff that I've made on my channel. I know you've probably got some stuff lined up, but it's there if you want to. I'll get to some videos that I think you could really glean a lot from. But there's still time. Okay. It would mean a lot to me. I was hoping that maybe there was a Venn diagram where Matt, Pat, and Jay Cephas could exist, but it's okay. I get it. I understand. Trust me. I do get it. I do understand, because so many people are getting burnt out from doing this content creation full time. It's either that they feel like they can't post the sort of stuff that they want to post. It's that they feel like they've sort of plateaued and like they've got their audience and there's not really any, how one might say, excitement or any new diamonds to mine out or whatever. Bad analogy, I don't care. People who are just burnt out. Like, again, in the game theory case, Matt Pat's talking about how he and his wife, who is a big part of the production of those channels, like they just talk about like analytics and keywords and editing things at dinner time, and it's like that consumes their life. So I absolutely get it. That at some point you get burned out. As somebody who is a microscopic flake on this website, I get burned out sometimes because I'm a one-man crew with the exception of a couple people who might help me film or whatever every so often. Like, I don't make no money off this ish, and I get burned out. It's not my thing. Like, this is not my way of income. So if you are running a literal company that employs dozens, if not maybe 100 people, like in the case of Mythical or whatever, then yeah, I can understand how you get so laser focused in on the next video's got to do good. It's got to do good because we've got mouths to feed. We've got salaries to pay. So I completely understand. It's not fun anymore. And that is kind of taking us back around to where I'm going to sit and kind of talk now for a little bit, right? This channel ain't going nowhere, okay? I may not post all the time, and I may have some, dead spots every so often, But I like doing this. I like having the camera. I like doing the editing. I like effing with my musical instruments that are back there amongst the junk, okay? I like creating, and it's a hobby for me. And so therefore, if I get burned out, I can just walk away for a little bit and leave it alone. There's a little hair that just went across the freaking front of that camera. That pisses me off so much. And you see where some of these other creators are starting to lean a little bit more into that. I go back to Rhett and Link. Like, they made a video saying, look, Good Mythical Morning's still going to exist, but our Rhett and Link channel, we're going to make stuff that we want to make and hope that people will come watch it, because that was kind of the spirit of why we made the channel in the first place, and to the broader scope, like kind of the point of YouTube, right, is to broadcast yourself. But see, people haven't really been broadcasting themselves for probably a good few years now, right? Probably for the past, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years at the very minimum. It has been so freaking corporate. Like, so freaking corporate. It becomes all about the analytics, the keywords, you have to set it up the right way. You have to bold, italicize, capitalize, all caps, certain words in your title. You have to, like, you have a team of people who just figure out how to SEO this to get it into the algorithm to even have a chance. And you have all these conflicting people. You have people who are massively freaking popular, right? Who are like, it doesn't matter what time you upload, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you make good content and have a good thumbnail, which is bullshit, by the way. Those people don't have to worry about it. They can make whatever they want to. And therefore, they can kind of get away with whatever. And it's fine, because that works for them. They have that audience, they can do that. There are other channels who are very successful, who still have to lean into being on a consistent schedule, having consistent sort of content type or whatever. These are things that you hear about so much, and there's no shortage of channels and we call influencers or whatever, who have tried to tell you, you have to make your video do this. You have to, within so many minutes, you have to have been to your point. You have to do blah and blah and blah and set it up a very particular way. And they give you these bits of advice where it's like, do this one thing to get thousands of subscribers tonight. And they give you this thing where it's like, it's this jargon where it almost sounds like it's something you can reach out and touch, until they get to the point where they're not anymore. And it's kind of like this, marketing for like beauty products or whatever. It's this loosely scientific language that doesn't really mean anything. Well, do your research, or, look up these and then do that. And it's like, none of that matters. None of that matters as much as just the virality, the amount of viralness with which a video sort of is allowed to propagate into the world, right? There are great videos that never see the light of day because the person who made it is a virtual nobody on the site. And then there is no shortage of shovelware that just gets pumped out of this machine by somebody who's a face, but not a whole, but is actually a team of people, like a big team of people that's built so big so that it doesn't fail. And you've started to see this because, like I've alluded to a few people where it's like, it might start as a couple guys or maybe a very small group or whatever. And then like you see like the actual team, and it's like, it's a company. It is an actual like several person large company now. Going back to the MatPat example, he had a video where he damned MCNs, multi-channel networks or whatever, that when YouTube very first started, if you were kind of somebody, you typically belonged to one of those, and said that they did a bunch of whatever, and it was like this big to do. But then like a couple years ago, he said like, oh, well, I sold my channels or whatever. I don't want to put words in his mouth. It was something to that effect, to this organization that basically handles the business side of it so that we can focus on the creative side. And that sounds great, but then it's like he's handing the keys of his thing that he made, that's been his baby for years, over to this company. And now he's handing most all of it. He says he's going to be around some limited capacity, but he's handing most of it over to these other people. Like, that's the thing. It's not just him anymore. It's everybody. That is not a bad way to do it or whatever, right? Like, once you get a certain level and you start, you're at this high level of editing and having to come up with new material and having to do research for it or whatever. Like, yeah, okay, eventually you might need some help. But there are still a handful of YouTubers who kind of do it on their own. And they might have a few people who help. They might have, maybe it's Patreons who help pay for some of the propping and allow them to have the time away from work to be able to work on whatever. It could be a team of editors. It could be they hire a bunch of people for like a 1 or 2 off video or whatever. Like, it's okay to outsource some stuff and to bring some people in, absolutely. But I think somewhere along the way, the whole broadcasting yourself sort of mantra of YouTube got lost. And now it has become so corporate that little guys don't really have a way in. And you can say all you want to, that, oh no, we want you to succeed. You see all these things, and everything I'm about to say, I don't say with any venom, for real anyway. I'm not saying it to make fun, to poke fun. I'm not saying it to try to be edgy or whatever. I'm saying this out of a genuine like for the platform, because I watch it as much or more as regular TV, because there are creators that I never knew existed who made content that I never knew that I would want, that I now keep up with on the regular, because that is something that my brain has sort of programmed as, I like that, I want to continue seeing it, right? And it's really about discovery. Again, talking about, I've sort of interchanged the terms earlier, research. I'm talking research when you actually have something in your video and you're saying, I need to get information about this. When I say research in sort of the more negative context of, well, research what kind of topic you want to do, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's go out and see what's popular now. Let's do keywords and see what kind of content you might want to create. Well, there's 2 problems with that. The first being that if you're not on the bleeding molecular edge of something, you're already too late. And the second being that, is that even something you want to make? Like, how can you be passionate about something that you don't really give a damn about, right? Like, how can you care? You're your biggest fan when you start a YouTube channel or when you start a band or whatever, okay? You have to be your biggest cheerleader, because very few people are going to perpetually put the energy behind you. Friends, family, absolutely, they'll support you. But when it comes to sort of shoveling coal in the steam engine, you got to be the one to say, I'm going to get up today. I'm going to go get in front of the camera that I think's funny or I think's entertaining or I think sends a message. And therefore, it's something that I feel is worth putting out into the world. And I think that that is kind of what we've lost on this website, right? To that end, this channel, like I said, is not going anywhere. But I'm not going to really worry about the analytics. Not that I worried a whole lot about it, but it's like, I hate doing the social media side. I say hate doing the social media. I like interacting a little bit on social media, what, small little ecosystem I have on there. But the constant having to keep up with it and the constant, make sure you share this or like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not a social media give a dammer, okay? I don't care about like trying to make sure that my social media keywords and my hashtags rocket my video, because it hasn't worked yet. And if you keep doing the same thing thinking that, oh, well, it's suddenly going to work, it's suddenly going to, I have to saturate this with enough of my face to be able to make it work, and then suddenly that's bull crap. Like, eventually you will find water if you keep digging, okay? But don't follow all the little trends of like, well, everybody's digging for water over here, so you probably should too. Yeah, everybody's digging for water in that hole. I want to go dig over there where there's nobody digging, where I can go do what I want to do. And when I find the people who are going to flow from that wellspring, hopefully, then they'll like me for me and not because of something that they were looking for other people doing and sort of just stumbled upon me, okay? If there's some overlap, that's cool. That's fine. Like the Heisenberg video that I did, that's still by far and away my biggest video, because that was something I wanted to do and it just so happened to coincide with a popular topic at the time. Cool. but it's not something that I'm going to sit here and constantly, like I've tried to ride the FNAF train. I really have. And it's a good series, and I watch the movie and I'll watch other people play it. I can't. My dudes, I cannot make myself do that. I can't. Okay? I guess it's been a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. I launched the Experiment Cephas channel, which had a very, very good run. I wanted to do things that were different, maybe a little too different for this channel, even though I've done some weird stuff on this channel. What I'm going to probably do is I have basically locked down the videos that were not scary stories on that, and I'm going to start rolling those into this channel. So there's been a couple that I've already released. I'm going to throw the thumbnails up here and maybe even link them in the end card or something like that. They're worth watching because, let me get this right, this one, well, this would have been a good one for Matt Pat to maybe do a film theory on here. And this one, likewise, but I think it's something that kind of speaks to what I've been talking about the whole time, and especially in this video, right? And I'm going to be rolling some other stuff in, and I'll probably make some new ones and put them here too, and just have that channel over there specifically for scary stories. That might help the algorithm of, it's scary stuff, but mostly just because that is kind of its own ecosystem over there. But this channel is always supposed to be sort of an expression of silliness, and to that point, I'm gonna kind of lean into it, and it may take off, it may stay where it is, it may bomb horribly. I've seen you, YouTube. I've seen the way that you've been pushing some of my videos here recently, and that's fine because I don't care. Because this is the part that YouTube probably needs to hear, and they're not going to like it. For all the videos and all the little message board things that I've seen where it's like, this is how your video gets shared. This is how you can do better. And again, it's this kind of nebulous, almost tangible, but just ethereal enough to not really be able to hold in your hand sort of advice. Here's the thing. YouTube, hear me when I say this. Whatever it is that you're doing, you need to pretty much have a team of your executive leadership in meetings round the clock until you find a way to stop this bleeding, because there are more and more people who are stepping away from YouTube, whether they're stepping away permanently, whether they're reeling back their role, whether they claim that they're not going to step away from YouTube, but you see that they're not releasing as much content and are also starting to dive into some other things, like making movies about a video game kind of thing. Like, eventually the people who are making videos now are going to walk away because of age, because they want to do something else, whatever. And I'm not saying all of them will, but a lot of them will. And then who's going to be left? Who's going to be left to stand up and walk into the current front line? Yeah, you've got a lot of people who are semi-popular, but you don't really have a whole lot of big star power, And I don't know if that's what you want or not, and that's fine. And I'm not saying that I'm worthy of it or whatever. If I was, cool, that'd be awesome. But I'm not saying it's got to be me. But you got to have somebody, And I'm seeing, to YouTube's credit, I am seeing a few more videos being suggested to me that have very, very single or double digit view counts. And that gives me a little bit of hope and gives me brings a small tear to my eye, because it tells me that YouTube is at least trying to crank out a few maybe newer people to get some momentum to kind of get them going and maybe be able to get a following. But you can't keep doing the sort of 80-20% thing with your creator base, right? You can't keep giving the same number of people who have been making videos for forever all the push, all the sort of glory, all the pointing at them and saying, oh, well, these are the guys. Yes, they are. And they deserve the accolades and sort of the status that they have. But you've got to start bringing some of the other people up into the fold. And you need to maybe bring some people that you wouldn't necessarily think about. Trying to stifle the creativity and say, okay, you have to be in this box to be able to succeed, I don't think is going to help you. And the thing is, eventually, what I think YouTube is going to have to kind of be okay with, because we have largely homogenized the type of content that we have by some of the biggest creators. Like I said, people like me, I don't make a cent off YouTube. I have not made 1 penny off this site yet. So I'm kind of an X factor. I'm kind of a uncontained variable. I can make whatever I want to as long as it doesn't go against any guidelines or anything and follows the rules. But I can make whatever I want to and have it up here. And that's kind of what I intend to do, right? And I think eventually you're going to have enough people who get sort of burned out on having to do it a certain way, who are either going to walk away or just crack and say, screw it, we're just going to, throw a pie now and see where it lands. And it's going to kind of fall back into being maybe a little bit, maybe not quite as lawless as it was in like circa 2008 or whatever, but a little bit more of a lawless wasteland, I hope. Because I think out-of-pocket, unhinged YouTube, to some degree, has some merit. I do. I'm not saying it has to go all the way back to, grainy videos where people are doing things that are just outright awful or whatever. I'm not condoning let's do bad things for clout. That's awful. That's horrible. That's what gets some people the reputation they have. I'm saying let some people just kind of be themselves. That's not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It very rarely is. But if somebody presents themselves a certain way and says, hey, this is my content, this is what I'm trying to build, please take it and please give it to somebody, because somebody in this world will like it. That's all I'm asking, and I think that's all a lot of creators are asking for. Because like I said, if the way it continues, this is not sustainable. So, till next time, bye.